Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down a trade that I took on USD CAD, a sell that I took on USD CAD the week before last. It was one of my best trades. In fact, it was my second best trade of all time. So I thought I'd just come and do a quick breakdown. In total, we caught about 200 pips, 204 pips to be exact, and our risk to reward was 1 to 35. I used both WYCKOFF and order block for this trade, and I went all the way down to 1 minute for my entry, so I was able to achieve a sniper entry. I don't have a screenshot of my personal entry. However, a student that sent the signal, so I didn't even come up with this trade. A student that I'm teaching came up with this trade and sent me the signal, and he took the trade, and you can see the price that he entered at, and I entered alongside him. I just didn't screenshot my trade. However, I did take a screenshot of the market before the setup had shown itself to me, so I do have that as proof. However, before I start the analysis, just a quick announcement, an important announcement. For the last 2 weeks, I've been posting signals on a Discord server, and I didn't want to announce it to the YouTube channel at first because there wasn't much proof that the signals were any good. But now, after 2 weeks of signals and after 2 weeks of posting signals, I think there's enough evidence that the signals are very good, because literally every single trade that I've posted in this signals chat has been profitable. I am selling signals, so if you want to be added to this signals chat, make sure you contact me on either Instagram or Telegram. Both will be the first two links in the description. My Instagram will be on the screen right now. So if you want to be added to this group chat, you can literally make back, the fee is £150, so you can literally make back, if you took any of these trades, you would have made that back. So your return on investment is infinite, and it's a small fee, and it's a one-time payment, so it's a complete bargain. I'm not going to budge on the price. If you want to be added, let me know on Instagram or Telegram. You'll pay the fee and I'll get you added immediately. So yeah, now that's been said, let me just close out of that and let me delete everything off this chart. First of all, let me just take this market back to where it was. So here we go. So for USD CAD, I noticed that we had a very clear area of structure that the market broke out of and formed an order block. So we had, if I just draw this out, we had this little area of resistance that retail traders are going to be selling at, and then we had the market break through that level of resistance and create a little area of supply, or an order block, or an ICT candle, or whatever you want to call it. This is what I call an order block candle. It's on the 1 hour time frame, so it's huge. We want to be able to refine that, so what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the lower time frames. This order block is valid because it broke structure to the downside, so it is the last bullish candle before a bearish impulse to the downside that broke structure. Therefore, this order block is valid. So I drew that out, and what I did was I went down to the 5-minute time frame and I looked for a way to refine this order block. However, what I found was this order block was very clean. There was no waffling happening. It didn't go down for a while and then continue going up and then drop off. It was a steady increase followed by a steady decrease. So there was no way I could refine this. So all I did was I drew in the open of that order block candle, the close, although we never enter off the close, and the 0.5, or roughly where the 0.5 is. I then waited for the market to return. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to the 1 hour time frame really quick, and I'm going to play this market for us. It's coming very quickly, so let me just play it candle by candle at this point. And what I found was, so if I just go back to here, it tested the 0.5 perfectly. So if I just do this quickly, you'll see that if you entered off the 0.5, it continues to drop off and you would have got a nice entry. However, I forgot to place my limit order at this point. I forgot to set my alert, and therefore I forgot to set my limit order. That didn't mean I completely abandoned this trade. I watched the market and I dropped down to the 1 minute time frame, straight down to the 1 minute time frame, and look what I noticed. So if I just continue playing this market on the 1 minute time frame, I noticed the market printed us a perfect WYCKOFF distribution schematic. So I'm just going to let this market play, let the market do its thing. You'll start to notice that even while I'm playing this market, we are producing a bit of a consolidation zone, which is a good sign because it's a rally, base, drop, which is what we look for. And during this base part, we look for WYCKOFF schematics and in this case we got a perfect distribution schematic. So let me just play this market, let it do its thing. We're waiting for a breakout to the downside, because then that's when we know the market has shown us where the UTAD is, because that's where the break of structure to the downside begins for our Wyckoff distribution. And look what we found. We found a perfect a break of structure to the downside that broke through these two levels of structure here, 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 and here. Market broke through that level of structure. Therefore, here is definitely a valid UTAD. So if I just mark this out, we would call this a preliminary supply, bias climax, automatic rally, secondary test. I didn't quite like this secondary test, because normally what I like is for it to come up and form equal highs or near equal highs to the bias climax, because that accumulates liquidity above that little double top that will then be liquidated by the upthrust that breaks that structure. But it was still fine. So I call this my secondary test, sign of weakness in phase A, upthrust, and then I call this sign of weakness in phase B, UTAD, and then we had this little consolidation zone. So what I did was, so let me just get rid of all these markings really quick. So what I did was, I was waiting to get an entry off my last point of supply. So I called this a little order block, because we have our last bullish pressure before the bearish impulse that broke through this structure and our overall structure. So that black cloud line. So this was the last bullish pressure, or significant bullish pressure before that impulse. So I call this the order block that we may potentially see our last point of supply format. The market then plays itself, breaks structure to the downside, and continues going downwards. So if you got an entry off that UTAD, you would have made a lot of money. I'm not going to play it on the 1 minute. I'm going to go down up to the 1 hour, and I'm just going to show you, maybe not the 1 hour, let's do the 15 minute. And I'm just going to wait for this market to return, and you'll see this time, although it was a sniper entry, I placed a limit order and an alert. So even though like my limit order was close to not being placed like automatically, I could have placed it if I wanted to, because I was alert and I was at the chart when the thing I was looking for had happened. So that's why I suggest anyone do, if you don't trust your limit orders, because maybe sometimes you get such sniper entries that the spread may mean you don't get triggered into your order. Because for example, if at this point the market touches it and goes down to the pip, so it doesn't ever go in drawdown, and spread at this point is 2 pips, you won't get triggered into that trade. So what you can do is you can set an alert at this point. So do something like that. Oh yeah, we're in retail mode, replay mode, so we can't really do that. But in a normal market, you'd be able to set an alert, add alert at this point, wait for the market when it triggers that alert, be alert at the market, so come to the market and manually place the trade. You could do that. For me, just place the limit order, so I don't have to do that. But if you're worried about that, then you can just go ahead and do that. So then what I did was I played this market, waited for the market to come. I think it did take some time, so I'm gonna, okay, here we go. And this was my entry, perfect entry I placed right off here. If you look at the price, you can go look at the price, go back. Actually, let me just show you. The price is 1.27283. Up here is 1.27283 is right here. So if I just draw it out for us, 27283, that was my entry. So I wasn't able, I didn't snatch that wick too much, but I still did get a sniper entry. We only were in drawdown for 2 pips basically. And then my stop loss was very simple, just the top of that order block candle, as I showed before. And then let's just play this market. My take profits were huge. I'm just gonna play this market really quick so you can see. Let me just play this. It continued to plummet. You could have even gotten another entry from this point. So if you look, we did see the market return to our order block up here. So you maybe could have even gotten another entry. I didn't. I only got one entry for this trade, which is unfortunate because there were so many other re-entry opportunities that I missed out on. My take profits, what I did was I went to the daily time frame. You could have easily taken profits. So if I go down back to the 1 hour time frame, you could have easily taken profit here. But I didn't want to do that because I looked left and I saw that overall we were in a downtrend, so I wanted to keep this trade open. because I believe that overall we're in a downtrend and we caught a nice entry, so perhaps it's going to continue and break structure to the downside, which is what happened. But this was just an initial grab of liquidity because we saw the market jump up. But I still did believe that I was going to come back down. So what I did was I went to the daily time frame. I just go back to the daily time frame, and I saw this a very clear level of structure. So what I did was I got my ray tool and I just drew out that level of structure. Let's get rid of this. Let's just get rid of that. And I set my take profit at that point. So if I just go back to the 15-minute, take profit went straight at that level of structure. So if I just draw it out for us. Okay, so if I just play this market, you'll see what happened. Market did react a bit, but then the market just came back down. This was just a grab of liquidity, impulse to gas up the buys, and then the sell-off occurs that we were looking for. So if I just continue this, you'll see market. Maybe I should have gone to the 1 hour time frame instead of the 15-minute. This is what I mean by there were so many re-entry opportunities. If I entered here, not there. If that was my order block and I entered here, I could have got another entry that would have been profitable. So if I just continue playing this market, there you go. I'll take profit for a total of 200 pips and a risk to reward of 1 to 35. So it was an amazing trade, an amazing trade. So if we just go here, this wasn't the initial entry, this was when the WYCKOFF was setting up. We didn't really have our impulse down that broke structure yet. So this was before the market had showed my entry. If you just look at the time, February 17th, 4:20, and we just go back, our entry was a day later. So this entry, this was when I started to get interested in this pair and this setup, and the entry that I actually took was a day later. So yeah, that was a quick little breakdown. Very simple trade. Order block, look for your break of structure to the upside that grabs liquidity, drawing that order block. An entry from here would have been way better because we could have gotten a better risk to reward. Although that may not be true because we would have had to widen our stop loss. But we would have been able to catch more pips, which is maybe a benefit that you care about more than risk to reward. But yeah, I was able to enter here. I'm happy with my profits. And yeah, overall that was a quick breakdown. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.